The Cold War was a very interesting time period for weapon development. Hell, it was an interesting time, period. All the major superpowers in the world were constantly thinking that they were going to go to war, whether conventional or nuclear, at any moment. And then 20 years later, Gorbachev is doing Pizza Hut commercials. Look, history's whack, all right? It's also one of my favorite eras of firearm evolution. Everyone was fascinated with the idea of an assault rifle, but nobody really had a consensus on what that looked like yet. So a lot of people ended up developing a lot of things. One of those is what we're talking about today, the Beretta AR-70. The Cold War has pretty much been over for a long time now. So I'm assuming if you're in my audience, you recognize this gun from somewhere else. Let me give you a hint. Oh yeah, I mean, how could we not? Yes, the Beretta AR-70 was also the basis for the standard assault rifle in Metal Gear Solid 5 Phantom Pain. So in the words of both Snake and the Mujahideen, let's go schwack some Russians in Afghanistan.
No one hears a word they say.
I'm no hero. Never was, never will be. I'm just an internet dipshit with a Beretta AR-70. Ladies and gentlemen, the Beretta AR-70. What is it and why is it so fucking cool? Well, we're gonna get into that. First off, the Beretta AR-70 started development roughly in the 60s and was introduced into military service in 1972. Made by, of course, as you could put together, Beretta. Yes, the same company that makes the M9 handgun. They're also like the oldest firearm manufacturer in Europe that's still operational. I think they've been making guns for like 500 fucking years. Kind of crazy the Italians took both noodles and gun making from the Asians. And as with both cases, the Italians realized the secret was the sauce. And dear God, did they pour some sauce on this sucker. It's a 5.56 or 223 combat rifle developed in one of my favorite eras of Cold War weapon design. Basically, most of NATO realized at the same time that the AK kind of fucks, but they had to make it their own. I mean, they weren't going to fight the commies with a clone of the commie gun. Unless you're Israel, in which case, that's pretty much exactly what they did. We'll have to do a Galil video one day. I've got like 5 of them, and we've never done a video on them, so let me know if that's something you want to see down in the comments. So of course, after the release and wide-scale popularity of platforms like the M16, which featured more of a gas impingement, direct piston system, a big departure away from like the long stroke, short stroke gas systems, a lot of people weren't quite ready to give up on long stroke yet. One of those being, actually, Stoner himself. You saw a lot of weapons that utilized like the AR-18 platform, which is of course piston driven. One of them being this little bad boy. Did a video on this one before, it's the AR-180. You might recognize it as the gun from the original Terminator, or other far more troubling things. Also, you might notice, which you did talk about in a prior video, this has the occluded eye optic. So it's a little piece of fiber optic right there in the front. There's not actually a real dot. All it does is you're basically just confusing your eyes. And if you keep both eyes open, I'm seeing, because of the way that my vision joins, it's just dark. It's black in here, and there's one little red glowing dot in the middle. But because if I keep both eyes open, the way that your vision merges, I'm actually seeing a dot wherever I'm aiming, even though it's technically invisible.
Now this video and this badass AR-70 would not have been made possible if it weren't for, oh shit, yeah, that's right, Nick and Hannah live in Iowa. Delete Me. Delete Me is an online service that scrubs your personal data off of the internet. Long story short, you probably use the internet for a lot of services that you think are free. And to you, they are, because as the saying goes, if you're not paying for the product, you are the product. Tons of apps and services online are selling your personal data all over the internet. Delete Me can help you with that. You see, data brokers online can legally collect and sell all sorts of information about you. Name, address, phone numbers, all sorts of stuff. This can lead to serious exposure from identity theft to phishing scams to straight up doxing. But Delete Me has been the industry leader for personally identifiable information removal for over 15 years. I personally started using it after my buddy Nick recommended it, and I get it. Delete Me continuously removes your personal information from the internet using their own services, and they don't outsource, meaning that your data always stays safe. And right now you can get 20% off of Delete Me consumer plans by going to joindeleteme.com/Herrera. Use code Herrera at checkout or use the QR code on screen. That's joindeleteme.com/Herrera, code Herrera. We appreciate Delete Me for making this video possible. We'd also like to take a minute to thank our friends over at the Sonoran Desert Institute. If you've ever wanted to get your start in gunsmithing and weapons technology and have no idea where to start, you might want to check them out using the links down in the description and in the pinned comment. We appreciate them for making this video possible. Back to the video.
One of the goals of this era of Cold War weapon development is try to get the modern ergonomics, you know, the thumb switch selectors, the last round bolt hold open with the bolt release, you know, all the modern controls that we're familiar with now because of the AR-15 platform, including, of course, utilizing the 5.56 cartridge, but mixing those with some of the things that made the AK so reliable, such as the rotating bolt gas-operated long-stroke piston system. The Beretta AR-70, though, was Beretta's offering in that cool 70s period where everybody was trying to find a piston-driven combat rifle that all kind of looked relatively close. One of the things that actually looked close to is the SIG 550 series of rifles. And we're going to get into exactly why that is. ADD break. So next up for the Beretta AR-70, we have our patented echelon penetration test. This one is actually my flavor, the one that I helped develop, called Atomic Cola. There's another cola in the nerd universe that's kind of like Atomic Cola. Unrelated, has anybody seen the new season of Fallout yet? Not to get off topic, but I just saw the first episode and it's fine. I mean, it's fun. You got big iron and stuff like that, but did anybody play the game? Because I feel like they're doing Mr. House dirty. House is just such a cool character and he's just being castrated because the writers can't get over their billionaire hate, you know, while writing for a company that is owned by one of the world's biggest billionaires. I'm just gonna funnel all my frustrations into the echelon. Leave my fucking childhood alone. I do kind of feel better. All right, so basic ergonomics, just in case you ever find yourself with one of these. Legendary loot crate pull, by the way. Magazine is 5.56, but it's a rock and lock, AK style. So you got this big lever right here in front of the trigger guard. We'll say very easy, very smooth. I was joking about this earlier. I'm like, why is it that every platform that tries to do the rock and lock besides the AK is better at it than the AK? Big pedal, just very easy to get it in and out. Very easy to index to where it is, so I feel like you could reload that pretty fast. Charging handle is, of course, on the right side. You got your little dust cover that drops down, and when you push the, pull the bolt carrier back, that automatically pops open, same as if you fire it. Bolt release is on the driver's side of the gun, same place as an AR-15. Drops it forward like so. And your fire selector is now down here. Typical place, just like an AR-15, although it is weirdly reversed. So going down is safety, and going up is fire. Which is a bit counterintuitive, but you know, it's the Italians. Water flushes backwards there or something. I can already see the comments. No, that's Australia. You may have noticed, as with a couple range days before, our steel targets behind me, we have a circular target, just like a gong, and then we have a steel coyote. But frankly, if we're choosing hunting targets to make out of steel, I would prefer
metal deer.
So in my opinion, one of the more interesting things about this gun is not necessarily the gun itself, but its relation to a weapon system you're probably more familiar with, which is the SIG 550 series of rifles. On top of them both just being fucking hot. No, there's a reason for their similarities, and if you don't think they look similar enough as is, maybe this photo will change your mind. That is what was originally being developed at the same time as the Beretta AR-70, called the SIG 530. Now, why the fuck do these guns look so similar? Well, turns out there's a reason for it. SIG and Beretta were actually doing an Avengers-level team-up. They were working together on co-developing the SIG 530. Now, for reasons that are unknown to me, at some point they had a bad breakup. Each one of them went their separate ways with the project. But like most bad breakups, there's still little pieces of one inside of the other. That's a bad analogy. What I mean to say is, it's very easy to see the lineage between the two rifles. I mean, for fuck's sake. Bring up that picture again. But it does make a lot of sense because there are so many features on this gun that I just recognize immediately from the SIG family of rifles. Again, shooting guns is really cool, but my nerdy passion is figuring out the etymology of them. Where did they come from? Where did they go? This one came to me, and I'm keeping it because it's cool. Also because Eli got me into Metal Gear, and I had to buy one as soon as I was playing through Metal Gear Solid 5. All right, so since I already brought it out, might as well compare apples to apples. Let's check out what the SIG's got to offer. First of all, the safety actually goes in the proper direction, the one that makes sense. A pretty decently long barrel on this thing, so I'm curious how the recoil impulse is. It's been a long time since I've shot one of these. I just picked this up pretty recently. This is the PE90, for those who are, you know, big SIG guys. Not that SIG. That is an incredibly gentle recoil impulse. Yeah, dear God. Which, to be fair, this is after SIG had quite some time to refine the product. But yeah, no, I understand the hype. These are really, really cool. Plus the deployable bipod there. It's neat, it's little things. You know, rules of Zombieland and all. Damn, now I want to shoot this more. So put a couple rounds through it, see what you think.
I'd love to. I
now fully understand why people make the comparison all the time that this is the Rolex of, you know, AKs or you know, stuff like that. It shares a lot of similarities with the AK, especially on the inside.
Yeah.
But you know, with it being Swiss made and with it being, you know, high quality craftsmanship, I'm
excited, man. This looks like, when you brought it over, it looks very solid, and just, I'm ready to run it. Looks flat as hell.
Need to charge it.
Thank you. Woo! Baby!
Soft shooting, isn't it?
Yeah. You just want to keep pulling the trigger. It's, I mean, I don't know, man. I'm not a gun builder, but from a layman's perspective, it's nice.
It's very nice.
Yeah. I don't know if these are just a character feature or...
Now, I know some people that take this out pretty damn far just with irons. Big shout out to Henry with 9-hole reviews. But yeah, no.
Oh, did he take one of these out pretty far?
Oh yeah, he loves those things, man.
Okay.
And he'll take them out to pretty good distance and make repeatable hits.
It's got the collapsing buttstock too, just in case you want to get in close.
Yeah, exactly.
I like
CQB with your DMR.
That's right. I like to use the bipod, close the buttstock, and just reach out like 1,000 yards. It's just one of the things we do around here.
You know, little things.
Well, thanks for letting me try it, man.
No, of course, buddy.
What a nice piece.
For disassembly, we have a pretty much a typical AR push pin style thing here. So you just push this through the side. You could use like the front end of a projectile. I'm just using whatever shit I have lying around. Push that through, and the weapon shotguns open. And you can see the first thing that's very different about this weapon than other things like the AR-15 or the AK is that the bolt carrier does not have the spring behind it. The spring assembly is actually around the piston, which is a huge departure. It also means it can be self-contained. This is why similar weapon systems like the SIG 550 series can have the folding stocks without having to worry about where the bolt or the spring or any of that goes. So now to further take it down, we have to remove the charging handle by pulling this back, and then the charging handle just pops out. And now our bolt carrier can flop out the back of the gun. Now this doesn't look very AK, you might say, but we have our traditional shark fin ejector cut, just like an AK, our extractor that pivots just like that. We have our 2-lug bolt, and to remove it, you realize that is an AK cam lug and an AK cam groove for sure. This next part, we are actually going to take apart the gas system up front. So push this down here. This is like a detent that stops this from screwing out. There we go. Just gonna thread that off the front. And that is what retains our gas block. Now you can see the gas port, the front of the gas piston already starting to look a little bit more AK. Rotate this out. Rotate this to where it's free. Yep, there we go. And the whole thing just plops out. So when you add this back together, you see this pairs into the bolt carrier like so, and just simulating putting the charging handle back in. Now you start to realize the lineage a little bit better. This is where you figure out, yeah, this is pretty much the same picture, with some departures. One of the biggest departures, of course, being the fact that the spring is around the front of the piston. Whereas in the AK, the spring just kind of fits in the back there and attaches to the back of the receiver. So if you're used to this, like I am, this is pretty funky, but you can definitely tell whose homework they copied. And I'm not saying that in a bad way. Pretty much everything through firearms design, you just start to learn that everything is taking parts and pieces and components from everybody else. It's much less plagiarism and much more just, you know, taking a paternity test. Ladies and gentlemen, the Beretta AR-70. Just a neat little piece of history. I know that I say that all the time, but man, it really is. Just being able to look into what made this gun, not only what makes it work, but the backstory behind it, I think that's cool. And on top of that, it's just fun for fellow nerds like me and like you. I know who you are. Anyhow, I got more work to get back to. I just wanted to take a minute to show you what was one of the cooler guns I picked up in the last couple weeks. Was not the only one. I got some really cool stuff to show you guys pretty soon, but I probably won't see you until then, so I just wanted to say Merry Christmas, and I will see you sexy YouTube mother lovers in the next video. Thanks. Voice crack. Clouds are back. The clouds are back. So this is a 5.56 combat rifle. I was just talking about how good that was. It was my fault.